Okay, good afternooners. This is Adam Sturch broadcasting from Garage Art today. Shifting attention from rupture of plane to the start of something as of yet untitled. I would like it to be dark, so we're going to have a Prussian blue with the last bit of a tube of madder carmine tossed into it, just for a little violet vibe to it. And I'm going to work on this one while this one sets up, or while Rupture of Plane sets up a little more, before I start working on the hard detail on that one. So, here we go. That didn't go nearly far enough, so I just threw the end of a brilliant red in the remainder of that Prussian blue to make a really nice kind of burgundy. So I'm going to see how far this will go, and then maybe start with some highlights or something just to kind of get some play happening in the lights and darks. So.
blow. Independent with 100,000 hours old. Rappers used to crowd around me funny, now they don't. No one's in my lane, my competition, no one out the O's. No petition, but I disappeared them in the cloud's move. In the kitchen, up and up, 1,000 Michael's down the road. You ain't never heard of me, fucking now you know. It's hard to take you serious, and I ain't out of Joe's. Most of the shit you rap about is unaccountable. Taking nothing, making noise with your mouth, I got your road. Never seen it on the road, listen like you out the phone. See, cause eat the weak, cause eat the sweet, I burn the gallon hold. I'm full of bread, I ain't counting sourdough. Shitting on it from the bull, funny how the road got reversed when it was in it. Never said look out below, never tried to lend a hand. I was down and out and broke. When the balance on my bank account, just a couple O's. Now we feast on beat my daggers, why we toasted on like cold cheese. We and where the time I go, never like there's no one left. So what's that you blowing up, they trolling on the social network. I rip my phones, I choke them out and never broke the sweat. You knock one out the box about your cause, and I'm in no effect. And I'm on my sister, only those that got me on the post of threat. I ain't scared of no one, see the hate, the rain that's on the net. If you don't start shit, there won't be none. Cause I don't really need no reason to be the one responsible for your extinction. Cause when it comes to competition, I don't see none. Think y'all ain't ghost to me, ghost to me. Ain't nobody coming close to me, close to me. It's like a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. It's a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. It's a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. Go ahead and sound a horn, like every born rapper does. I wish to do behind the blue, but put a power board. Just quit and do some shit you're good at. You say it's show, it's all gonna be to look at. Like the unibrow, and I'll be sure. The difference between our music, like a day I'm getting busy, but you shitty like a giant mile like Amador. So watch the mouth of yours. I never thought I'd see the day it'd be okay to let these rappers dress like Shalimar. They wanna dance, suck a dead, fuck these kids, knock them off their balance boards, beat them down and set a line of door. Ugly as fuck, but these sluts pulling down their drawers. Back bitches love me like an African, me got this one smoking, never found a joke, sipping on the crown of boy. Why the rowdy folk, the Scotty Hicks together, now they boy. Some dummies said there was some hurry since I made it, and the famous bitch was calling like the army was the Valley Force. Was dope enough to get a tip back in 2004. I was born a killer, tried to warn him, and I tell him was if you don't start shit, there won't be none. Cause I don't really need no reason to be the one responsible for your extinction. Cause when it comes to competition, I don't see none. Think y'all ain't ghost to me, ghost to me. Ain't nobody coming close to me, close to me. It's like a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. It's a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. It's a goddamn ghost to me, ghost to me. I'm just really being honest, y'all. I'm just sick of being modest all the time. And all these artists talk like they the hottest, and y'all let them get away with murder. They just rhyming words together, ain't no substance to they monologue. They go on stage straight to grab a water, rapping novas out they vocals to distract the fat. They sounding awful dog. We ain't playing volleyball, I ain't going back and forth. If you diss me and they piss me off, then I might smack you for it. Run up in the studio while you would on like everything is coolio. The jack you know your laptop and your Mackie board. You think I'm playing, you mistaken shit. You faking in the movie, taking. You ain't got no skills, you only get the bar. Come and get the better scar. Think this shit is Caviar. You fictional like Battlestar Galactica and Avatar. I'm on another planet and these rappers almost at Mars. Venus, Jesus, we just see Katia, we just laugh at y'all. An open casket, I just kill the Kato track. If you feel it, play it back, really, I'm just taking facts that if you don't start shit, there won't be none. Cause I don't really need no reason to be the one responsible for your extinction. Cause when it comes to competition, I don't see none. Think y'all ain't ghost to me, ghost to me. Ain't nobody coming close to me, close to me. It's like a goddamn ghost to me, 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 ghost to me.
They say I need some roti to put in my hair.
What you don't is your fate, cause you couldn't just wait. You had to have the way that you in your mind. But in the end, everything came in time from before the time. You was losing your mind. You was racing and rushing and falling behind. But then they take about God and the way she works. Tell me the way he works. Tell me the way we work. You gotta trust in your Lord. Everything is in accord. Don't rush your bus. You wanna keep yours. Close your eyes, your heart, your ears, your mind to the ways and thoughts of mankind. And first the kingdom of God. And things won't seem so hard. You gotta trust your Lord. Tell about trust and obey. Trust when afraid. Trust when you pay. Trust when you trade. Trust when you fear. Trust when you're unclear. Trust when you hear. Trust when you hear. Trust you down. Trust you bound. Trust you clown. Let's do it again. Let's raise it up. Come on, look. You live, you learn, you see, you learn how to trust and get OD. You will be so free. You will see no me. You will only see the will of the Almighty. You see the one. Well, don't will. Give it up. Stop thinking and begin to live it up. Every time you think it's one way, it's not. Every time you want to stop, you really stop. Trust the end of the options for the sinners. In fact, this whole happens for beginners. Those that are told they walk upon the path. Know that they get what they want or will act. So I rush. If your respect is due, whatever you don't have is protecting you. It's what you do have that begin in the drama. Ask in the shower and give you with a cop. Trust and obey. Trust when afraid. Trust when you pay. Trust when you trade. Trust when you fear. Trust when you're unclear. Trust when you hear. Trust when you hear. Trust when you down. Trust when you bound. Trust when you clown. So when you be it, when you see it, that thoughts and things they manifest when you decree it. But God be looking out for you, putting a stop to what you're about to do in your life and in your circumstances. Every time you speak, you be taking chances, talking about things that you really don't have to have. So when you get them, your life turns sad, your life turns bad. And why would your God be allowing that? Trust in God, that's where the crown is at. It's not what you get, it's what happens after that. So if you think your life is shrinking, it may be because you keep thinking. Intellect is wrong, it's just the beginning. It might be time to perform. Trust and obey. Trust when afraid. Trust when you pay. Trust when you trade. Trust when you fear. Trust when you're unclear. Trust when you hear. Trust when you hear. Trust you down. Trust you bound. Trust you clown.
This is all right.
So when the janitor's type 2, eliminate IV, amateur IV, salmon, chemical, no answer to why we got a capital command of corrosion through the wax pot, boil when the plant explodes. Box top, royal got a hand over hostess, things like photo finish fantasy quotes. Now don't take advantage of the place to the building that are standing up. In a rain soaked, salivating panic flush, you hold still like you waiting for your hands to rust.
Okay, that was a very thirsty old piece of wood. It drank that first batch of paint like it was nothing, and so I just had to kind of keep going with it. But I think it's a nice start. Oh, let's take this off the tripod. There we go. So yeah, that's a nice, well, can't see it with the highlight on the sun, but it's a good base color, some expressive brushwork, starting to build up something. Good foundation. So anyway, that gets that started. I'll watch that dry and we'll move on to Rupture of Plane later today. Thanks for watching, Earth. That's Adam Sturch broadcasting from the Garage Art, working on as of yet untitled oil painting. Have a good afternoon or evening by the time I post this. Okay, take two on as of yet untitled picture. I had every intention of starting the hard detail on Rupture of Plane, but this one's kind of pulling at me, so I'm going to mix up, or I mixed up some bright red and some turquoise, and just going to play with color a little bit to kind of build up a background for what I think it's becoming.
Rubik cube, if you got it right at the beginning, it's that kind of thing, only on a smaller scale. Anyway, that's one thing in the pipeline. The other thing is the 3 experiments which won the Tennytown Prize. which was awarded in June 1986, the tests of morphic resonance. All involved experiments on the ability of human beings to learn things that millions of people had learned before. Again, I won't go into these in detail because they're all written up in my new book, The Presence of the Past. Briefly, they involved the ability to learn or recognize words in languages unknown to the person in the written form. One involved Hebrew words written in Hebrew. The other involved Persian words written in Persian. These two experiments were very similar. They were done independently, one in the United States at Yale by Gary Schwartz, the other in Britain, by two people who both independently devised a very similar test to test for morphic resonance. Itself an interesting fact. And these tests showed the ability of people to learn things more readily if they were things that other people had learned before. The third test was on Morse code. The main experiments that have been going on, apart from other ones planned in the human psychology realm, the ones that are actually going on right now are in the realms of chemistry and in fruit fly development. The experiment that's going on in Warwick University at this moment concerns protein folding. In my new book I discuss this. If proteins are unfolded, then it may be they fold up again, which involves a complex morphogenetic process at the molecular level, which can be monitored using quite simple techniques. When they fold up again, they may be refolding in a way that they've not done in nature before. Especially, there are reasons why this would be so for certain particular enzymes. And so the more often they're refolded, they should learn how to do it, as it were, and the refolding process should take place measurably quicker. But we have an experiment going on to test for this, the refolding of enzymes, and then repeated refolding to see if it happens quicker. I don't know the results yet. It's still going on, and I'm not sure whether it will give conclusive results or not within the summer, which is when the project ends. The other one's on fruit flies and the development of fruit flies, following up results that already suggest that when fruit flies have developed in response to an abnormal stimulus like ether or higher temperatures during pupation, that the percent abnormal flies, for example flies with extra veins in their wings, a certain proportion are produced by this stress from the environment. But the more flies that have been exposed to the stress, the more that have become abnormal, the greater the abnormal response is when fresh ones are put into this stress. This has already been found. And it looks very much like a morphogenetic morphic resonance effect. And some more experiments are going on to test the earlier results that showed this result to be the case. Again, these experiments are about halfway through at the moment. So these are some of the things that are going on to test the theory. I should perhaps mention one attempt to refute the theory that's been made and recently published in the Skeptical Inquirer. I don't know how many people here are readers of the Skeptical Inquirer. Perhaps rather few. The Skeptical Inquirer, as you may know, is the house journal of PsyCop, the debunking organisation. And the one that's most famous for James Randi being among its activists. And this was published, it was a paper by Francisco Varela, who claimed to have refuted the hypothesis of formative causation. And the experiment that he'd done involved programming a desktop computer to carry out a particular operation, measure the time it took to do it, and then repeat this operation millions of times, and then measuring the rate of it. And he found that the computer didn't do it any quicker. So he concluded that this refuted the hypothesis of formative causation, and he first wrote this paper in 1983 and sent it to me, and suggested we had a public discussion on this, which I agreed to. So we had 2 or 3 exchanges, and the idea was to publish the papers together. I argued in my first exchange that it didn't test the theory because the theory only applies to indeterminate quantum systems which contain enough indeterminacy for these probabilistic fields to get a grip on it. Whereas computers are completely determinate in their functioning. There's nothing that the fields could do. Secondly, the computers are not self-organizing systems in the same sense that morphogenetic systems in cells, crystals, molecules, and atoms are. Rather, the program that's going on is not something that's created itself, but rather it's something which Varela had thought up and put inside the machine. There's nothing self-organizing about that. And therefore, this wasn't a test of the theory. Anyway, Varela didn't agree and said that I couldn't maintain that living organisms were not machines like computers, because both organisms and machines were machines, and that there was no difference between computers and living organisms because they were all machines. So we got into this kind of argument, and I said I thought that was rubbish and that it wasn't like that at all, and so on. Anyway, what happened then was that a physicist, the late Professor Michael Ovenden of the University of British Columbia, who was one of the judges in the Tarrytown competition, read Varela's paper, which was entered for the competition, and all 4 judges rejected as being a valid test of the theory. He pointed out to me that it didn't test the theory because the way computers work is that every microsecond or so there's a pulse, and the instructions are carried out pulse-wise. So a program with 30 steps in would take 30 microseconds because each step is pulsed by this internal clock. Well, roughly speaking, that seems to be what's going on in the computer. Varela's program with 30 steps took 30 microseconds for his computer to do. It's a computer that has a microsecond clock. And after millions of repetitions, it still took 30 microseconds. Well, all this shows is that the clock that pulses the things in the computer was pulsing the instructions at exactly the rate that the computer has to pulse them at, namely 1 microsecond. And so it took 30 microseconds to run through these instructions. Even if the silicon chips had responded quicker to the pulses, then it wouldn't have shown up in this experiment because they would still have had to happen every microsecond. Anyway, this error in the basis of the experiment it was pointed out to him anyway. He published the original paper, and I've now written a reply in the Skeptical Inquirer pointing out these issues. But when I sent this into the editor of the Skeptical Inquirer, he wrote back to me saying that my reply probably wouldn't come up till the winter number, since the letters section of the fall number was already full of letters from other people pointing out the same error. So that's the status of the refutation debate at the moment, and you'll be able to see these various things in the forthcoming next 2 issues of the Skeptical Inquirer, which you'll ever see it around. There are quite a number of projects being planned in the realms of chemistry and developmental biology and experimental psychology. Some funding has become available for morphic resonance research, which is why these projects are going on right now, owing to the generosity of 3 or 4 individuals, and then smaller subscriptions through the Fund for Morphic Resonance Research from individuals who have been good enough to try and help this process along. And this money really has helped it along because it has made it possible to hire people to do these experiments in labs, in universities, and there are quite a number of universities ready and willing to do them. And the only limiting factor at the moment is money to hire the people to do them. We're hiring students in the summer vacation to do these projects because that way we can get a 3 to 4 month project done for $1,500. Yes.
I don't know if I'm the only one in the audience who really doesn't grasp what the theory of morphogenetic resonance is, but I appreciate your sentence description.
Yes, quite right. Well, I should have said that at the beginning. All right. The theory, sorry about that, I was assuming that most people did know, and I should have realized that not everybody would, and maybe most don't.
It intrigues me about it. I don't grasp it.
Well, it's hard to grasp in its detailed forms. But that's what our dialogue was going to be about, and some of these things. But basically what it's saying is that the so-called laws of nature are like habits, that things happen the way they do because they've happened that way before. The way crystals crystallize depends on the way the same compound has crystallized in the past. The way rats learn a new trick depends on whether other rats have learned it before. If rats in another place have already learned it, then it'll be easier to learn somewhere else for subsequent rats by the process called morphic resonance. So there's a kind of collective memory in nature, in different species, in different kinds of things. And this collective memory is transferred from the past to the present by the process I call morphic resonance. And that means that in general, new things which happen repeatedly should happen more and more easily, or more and more quickly, or more and more probably as time goes on, because of the effect of the build-up of this morphic resonance. And this theory is controversial, as Terence pointed out, because it's not the way that scientists usually think about these things. And the issue that I've just been discussing is various experimental ways to test it, because this theory says when proteins fold up a new way and do it repeatedly, they should do it quicker. And when some people have learned something in one country, like on television in a hidden image, it should make it easier for others to spot it elsewhere. Or if fruit flies have developed in a new way, for example with extra veins in their wings, then the more that do it, the easier it should get for others to do it, other things being equal. And that's the point of all these experiments I've been describing. They're all designed to test this theory, to see whether there is in fact this kind of memory or habit in nature. There's one more aspect of the theory that I should mention, which is that it leads to a completely new interpretation of memory. And it says that our ordinary memories of what we've done depend not on traces or physical material changes stored in the brain, like traces on a tape recorder or recordings in a hologram. It doesn't depend on a material storage system in the brain. Rather, memory depends on tuning in to our own past directly by morphic resonance. And the brain's more like a tuning system than a storage system. Damage to the brain can interfere with the tuning or the reception, and so you can get loss of memory through brain damage, but the memory isn't in the brain. And just as we tune into our own memories from our own past, so we also tune into the memories of large numbers of other people, and this is similar as a notion to what Jung called the collective unconscious. So that's a summary of what it's all about. And the experiments I've just been talking about were in response to Terence asking for an update on the experimental test situation. So that's more or less what's been going on so far in the way of experimental tests. And more are in the pipeline, and the limiting factor at the moment is funds, and some funds are becoming available. So that's where we are from that point of view.
Yes, I might say about all this, to my mind, the criticism of the theory has to this point been fairly inane and largely carried out by people who didn't really understand the theory. That doesn't mean that it is not open to criticism. The reason I have such an interest in it is because it solved a lot of what I felt were outstanding problems in my own model building efforts, but it certainly raises other questions. In the first paragraph of The Presence of the Past, Rupert condenses the theory into a slogan which could be shouted in a theater or a parade. It's that things are as they are because they were as they were. And that, in essence, is what this theory is saying. Well, now notice that this is as conservative a point of view as one could possibly imagine. The problem if you believe things are as they are because they were as they were, then your problem is to account for anything more novel ever happening.
All right.
How in a world where things are as they are because they were as they were, are you ever going to get
all right, though. I like
creative
that as a start.
advance?
I do.
It seems to preclude
That's
it
got a
from the
nice
outset.
vibe to it.
Well, what drew me
So I'm going to let that dry,
originally
and I might
to
work on
put
Rupture of
us
Plane here in a little while.
together
But that's it for the moment on this one. So that's Adam Sturch, broadcasting from Garage Art, Taos, New Mexico. Working on oil painting as of yet untitled.
That was what it delivered
Have a good night,
on,
Earth.
was a